the Joint Chiefs of Staff approved Operation Northwoods on May 1st, 1963. And Northwoods was what they call in the business a pretext operation, or an engineered provocation is another term that's used for it. The term you probably hear most often is false flag operation. Okay. So I like engineered provocation because the false flag operation sounds a little spooky, and it's like a pirate, skull and bones on the black flag. An engineered provocation, that's a little more precise description of what they were doing. And here's how it would work. The US would stage a spectacular attack on an American target. And that could be, and the Pentagon worked out these various scenarios. That could be a terror attack in Washington was one scenario. A plane hijacking was another scenario. There were a couple of plane hijacking scenarios. Another one was this was when the U.S. was sending up its first astronauts. If John Glenn's first space mission had ended in disaster and Glenn was killed, the CIA was prepared to fake evidence that Cuba was responsible, that somehow they'd interfered with the flight. So you staged a spectacular attack on an American target, and you use your most trusted personnel, your most trusted covert personnel. That's the language in the Northwoods document. And you use your most trusted covert personnel to arrange for the blame to fall on Cuba. So you stage the spectacular attack, but you make it look like Castro did it. And then, oh, look, the lawless Castro outside the community of peace-loving nations. Can you imagine the horrible thing that he did? The president now has justification to order the invasion of Cuba. That was the Joint Chiefs solution, the Northwoods solution. So basically, to trick the country into going to war. That was the mentality. And the Northwoods plans were approved unanimously by the Joint Chiefs on May 1st. And they stayed in effect until September 29th, 1963. So in that time, that's what Pentagon and CIA people were doing. They were preparing to stage some kind of spectacular attack in the United States and blame it on Cuba. So on November 22nd, somebody staged a spectacular attack on an American target, and immediately the CIA's most trusted covert personnel spring into action to blame the crime on Cuba. So is that suspicious? Well, the fact that Northwoods was totally unknown, nobody disclosed it to any assassination investigation, was proof that nobody wanted that story on the record, not while people were investigating Kennedy's death. So the Northwoods document was along with the Joanides files, one of the most significant new pieces of evidence that we have. And, when I say the CIA's covert assets immediately sprung into view, that's abundantly documented. That's not a theory. That actually happened. So what does that tell you? That tells you that anti-democratic conspiratorial mindset was quite common